Hello, everybody,
Hey.
and welcome to the White Hatter YouTube News Show. I'm Brandon.
I'm Darren.
Let's talk about some updates.
Let's do it.
From us here in the White Hatter. First update is our regular every year back to school 2021-2022 live event happening on September 8th. And that'll be at 4:30 Pacific Standard Time and then 6:30 Eastern.
We've kind of made this an annual event, right? Every year we've kind of done something. This year we're going to do a little different. I think, your idea kind of sounds cool, actually, where we're going to kind of combine it to be kind of like an Apple event where we're going to talk about all the new things that you've done this summer with Keegan. And by the way, Keegan, are you done yet? So I'm going to have fun with him this week. Keegan is our summer student. He's only got 1 week left. He's doing all the editing on all our programs, so just doing a hell of a great job. But I think what I want to do is take this event and kind of do half and half. Half talk about all the new programs and all the new things that we've got in place. And then the second half talk about some of the solutions specifically to some of the technology challenges that families will probably face coming into the new school year.
Yes, so stay tuned. That sounds great. And I think we might be doing some giveaways also.
Ooh, giveaways.
So I know we're going to be starting promoting. I think this is like in about 2 weeks or so from now. So stay tuned.
Yeah, it is September 8th, right? So it's 2 weeks from now.
So stay tuned for that. And that will be live here on YouTube.
Looking forward to it.
So let's talk about some news.
In the news.
First news topic from last week. Man sues parent of teens who hijacked nearly $1 million in Bitcoin.
Let this older guy man sues parents of teen who hijacked nearly one. Oh, so a teen hijacked the Bitcoin, but now this parent is suing the parents of that teen. Not
necessarily the parent, but the adult who was hacked. Is then suing the parents.
The parent of the youth who stole it.
Now, this is interesting because this is not the first case where...
And this one's outside of Canada, right?
Yeah, this is America, But where parents were the defendants in a lawsuit because their teen did something they shouldn't have done.
Yeah, I mean, here in BC, we had a case, it's about a year and a half, 2 years ago now, where a youth set fire to a school, caused significant damage.
Right.
And as a result of that, the school district sued the parent, and the court agreed with the school and said, yeah, you know what, parents, you need to pay back. Although it was your son who was responsible, you as the parents have some liability here. And as a result of that, this is what you're going to have to pay.
So, this is kind of like a digital form of that, where a teen who hacks, parents can be held potentially liable for that.
Yeah, and I think we're starting to see some case law in the United States, and I predict we're going to see it up here in Canada as well when it comes to cyberbullying, right? Like if your child is a cyberbullying and targeting other children, and then it is brought to your attention, say by a teacher or by a principal, that your child is doing this and that you need to do your due diligence to help prevent this from happening, and you don't, then parents in the U.S. are being sued as a result of that. And I predict we're going to see the same thing happening up here in Canada. That's what I think. I might be wrong.
That's a logical, reasonable
We're not lawyers.
outcome.
We're not lawyers. We don't pretend to be them on TV or online.
Well, but you read a lot of case law.
Yeah, we do. We read a lot of case law. And it's interesting to see what happens down in the U.S. It takes about 5 or 6 years to kind of flow up here into Canada.
And that case in BC, that kind of was essentially the same thing, but in a physical environment.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm sure that case will be used in any future hacking cases of teens.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Very interesting. Yeah, very interesting.
Next story. Man steals 620,000 iCloud photos in plot to find images of nude individuals. So
didn't we have a story about this last week?
It's not the same story.
Really?
So I know last show we talked about something very similar.
We did.
An individual was trying to get passwords and logins for people's iCloud accounts, looking for nude photos to use for exploitation and whatever they wanted to do with those images. Here's another case a week later. Basically the same thing. Individual, they were pretending to be from Apple support, and they were convincing people to give over the Apple IDs and passwords, where they would then take those, log into their iCloud.
So a phishing attack, right?
Exactly. Right. Looking for content, particularly nude pictures, to then target folks.
I mean, this is one of the reasons why when we talk to middle school and high school students, because like it or not, what was your, I mean, you're the expert in this field with all the research you've done on here, the academic research. What percentage of teens are sending actual true nudes? Not sex, because,
true nudes?
Yeah, true nudes.
We don't know what the numbers are roughly from COVID era, but I can tell you right before then, because research has kind of been halted in those areas because the world's kind of having some problems.
Kinda.
Things are changed. So, but generally, you're looking at 10-15% of true nude fully images that would be classified as pornography under the law.
And so a lot of youth who have iPhones don't know that a lot of times if you have an iCloud account, when you save a picture to your phone,
that's what I think a problem could be here, because I'm assuming many of these people who are being targeted didn't intentionally understand they had pictures in the cloud. Like you just said, if you enable your cloud backup on your photos, all your photos in your library get backed up to the cloud.
And some people want to do that, right? Like they want to save their pictures to the cloud just in case they lose their phone
gets
or
broken.
something like that.
Yeah, of course.
Right, but
if there's a picture there you want no one else to see, you may only want that on your phone. But if your cloud backups, they're all there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely.
So what's the defense here? So what can you do to prevent that from happening? Like just turn off the iCloud? Like for some people, that's going to be unrealistic.
A couple things. Number one, ensure your iCloud is proper security, so two-factor authentication. Ensure that's all there.
And why is that important?
Because if someone tries to log into your account, you'll be prompted with a security code. You have to have the phone to enable. So that prevents that in the first place. So if you do have photos or things in your iCloud you want no one else to see, although iCloud's an unsecured encrypted environment anyways. You've been watching our previous shows.
We talked about that
about Apple scanning photos anyways. You may want to consider those factors as well.
Any other takeaways on this?
Looking out for those phishing scam attacks. Understand that Apple's not going to ask you for your Apple ID or password in an email, or over the phone, or a text message.
That's a big one.
I mean, one, your iCloud is an unsecured encrypted environment. Apple has access to that anyways, so they don't need your account credentials.
Yeah. I think that's a big one. Number one, that they're just not going to ask you for those credentials. And number two, maybe turn it off specifically to when you don't want specific photos taken on your phone uploaded to the cloud. So if you do have it on your phone, before you turn it back on, make sure you delete it off your phone before you turn it back on, right?
Yeah, or you take photos in a different app. Because I know some apps you can take photos in their own app. Yeah. So I mean,
and then you can put them behind
but that's ensuring people are actively thinking about each photo they post. Yeah. Do I want this in the cloud or not? Yeah. And that's where challenges arise.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially when taking quick photos, you're not
we do talk about this when we're talking to high school students about harm reduction approach to sexting, about making sure you turn that function off on your phone. Because I would hazard to guess, I think you're right, that especially teens, probably adults as well, just don't understand that it's being uploaded into the cloud, not just onto their phone, but into the
when
cloud.
You enable iCloud on by default and you just go accept, it just backs everything up, which is great in case you lose your stuff. But
interesting, this is the second one though,
I know, it's a second one. I know. Yeah. Interesting.
Very interesting. And that person was arrested too. He's facing some significant charges. So
yes. Next article is worldwide phishing attempts have ramped up on the peak of working from home.
We predicted this one, didn't we?
We've seen this. We've talked about this already. A new part about this, they did see a decrease when people were transferring from working in the office to home because people were in a transition phase and they were using computers. Makes sense. Okay. But now phishing attacks have become even more prevalent than compared to in office. Just because generally working from home in distance, there's a lot less security in place.
Yeah, and
which creates issues.
Those are some of the things that we'll talk about at the YouTube Back to School Live event, right?
We will be talking about students learning remotely as that's still happening, and there are still some challenges that schools, families, and educators need to be aware of.
Yeah, we'll talk about, and some of the things you can put in place to help minimize this, right?
Indeed.
So, yeah, for sure.
In last article, topic from last week, fake DMCA and DDoS complaints lead to BazaLoader malware.
Okay, so just before you go on, what does the DMCA stand for those who don't? I know what it stands for.
Well, it's not a song.
No, I know. It's not the YMCA from the Village People, right? From my generation, right? That was my generation, the disco generation, right? It's the DMCA. Yeah, DMCA. So what is the DMCA? You're welcome. Just a visual. It was all. It was a visual.
Okay.
So what's the DMCA?
Digital Millennial Copyright Act. Basically, it is an ambiguous, all-arcing legislation that basically says if you are hosting or have copyright material in your possession and posting it, you can be basically sued for that. You have to take it down. It's basically DMCA is known throughout the internet world because every content creator from YouTube and Twitch are talking about it and how terrible it is because it doesn't put any reasonable limitations on things.
Right.
Oftentimes people are found the DMCA usually treats people guilty until proven innocent.
Right.
Which is not the way law works.
Having said that, we work with clients to help them do DMCA takedowns, right? Especially when it comes to intimate images or videos.
DMCA does have legitimate usage.
Yeah, we use
but
it.
people are exploiting it. Companies are also exploiting it.
Really?
So it makes sense
How are they exploiting it?
How are they exploiting it?
Yeah, how are they exploiting
Oh,
it?
let me tell you.
Oh, so here we go.
Tangent. So basically, we've seen some companies who will intentionally flag certain creators' YouTube videos. Although the videos are completely in fair use, it's being critiqued, it's being used for commentary, they're flagging them in order to take them down. Or maybe certain organizations that don't want certain videos posted online will play music live in the background in order to make it, we talked about that earlier in one of our shows, to make videos not be posted on YouTube because we taken down.
I mean, a good example is I know a strategy that youth are now using that we learn from youth when it comes to protecting nude videos that are going out that they're sending out is that they're playing copyrighted music in the background, right? So that if the person who has the video tries to play it with sound and post it onto something like Facebook, Instagram, any of the big players, they've got artificial intelligence in place that prevents that video from being posted because it would be a breach of copyright.
Because the music's a violation and
copyright.
Therefore there's,
We actually saw law enforcement doing that in the U.S. too.
That's
right?
what I was alluding to.
I'll say it because I'm ex-law enforcement, right? Like they were doing it as a way to prevent people who were trying to record them with their cell phones doing things they shouldn't be doing. They would play music. The cops would play
Taylor
music,
Swift.
on their phone, so that it's being picked up, so that the video couldn't be played, right? Like it's that.
And then them literally saying in the video, you can't post it because of the music.
Exactly. You know, I hate to say this, but when cops do that, that's what creates bad case law. It does. That's what creates bad case law, right? Because cops are doing and saying things that they shouldn't be saying or doing and then trying to cover it up by using tricks and techniques like this. That's not on, right?
I didn't put it in the show, but did you see the case last week in regards to a court case going on right now where a law enforcement professional pulled someone over. They put their phone on the back of like this person's car. The person drove away. They sped away to get away from police, and the phone fell into the car. In order to recover government property, they enabled location tracking to recover the property. But under the law where this is happening, in order to use GPS tracking, you need a warrant. But the rationale they're saying, well, it was an accident. The phone fell into the car.
Okay, so I got a comment here.
What?
Why would any cop
Leave a phone on a car?
That's
going to be the question.
On a car?
I know.
Oh, like why would you do that?
I know. That's going to be the question. So, I mean, obviously, the case is, a lot of privacy advocates are watching this case because if it goes through and the claim that it was an accident successful, what's stopping every law enforcement professional going, oops, there goes my phone. Oops, there goes my AirTag. Oops, it just fell in the car. It's like, what?
It's called a bird dog in policing jurisdiction, right? GPS bird dogging. And in order to put those in cars here in Canada, I'm speaking in Canada right now.
And where this case was happening as well.
US, you have to have a warrant in order to do that, right? Like why would a cop?
But if you govern property,
and how could you possibly place this on a car so that as it drives away, it falls into the car?
I think it was a flatbed truck, if I recall correctly.
Okay.
I think it was. Again, the article wasn't in the show because
I guess there is a Barney Fife officer that maybe would forget that he put his phone onto the truck, but
but then they have the knowledge to call a fellow member to go, hey, I lost my phone. Can you track it for me?
Yeah, like
you'd have to know that as well.
Anyways,
interesting to see how that case turns out.
Sure. That's a little bit of a tangent, but
that's much. Well,
I think that might just create bad case law.
Yeah.
My advice to Canadian law enforcement who are watching: don't do that, right? Or you'll be known as Feeney. And for those of you who know what a Feeney warrant is, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Bad case law. Anyways, back on topic.
So back on the, I guess, original topic that led to that. So hackers are targeting people who own websites. So not everyone who watches the show this will apply to, but some people are building their own personal web pages, their own personal online resume sites. So if you own a web presence somewhere, a person sends you a notification saying, hey, you host copyrighted material. Click this link. Resolve it. If you don't, you could face a fine up to $120,000 if you refuse to remove it.
Yeah. No. I think the message here is that if you don't have a site, you don't want to say you're not posting stuff on the site, not a lot to worry about here. But if you have a website and you're posting things, then you could get hit with this, right? And that's why there's another. I mean, you hit me hard on this, right? And it took a long time for me to understand this. Prior to us doing presentations, I would just screen capture stuff and post it into our presentations. And you said, "Hey, Darren, you can't do that." What do you mean I can't? Fair use, right? And you're going, no, right? So, you know,
depending on the circumstances.
Yeah, so that's why we're very careful that when we post things into our presentations that we're using to say do PowerPoints or stuff, that it's copyright free, right? For that very reason. So interesting. Interesting week. It was that Apple iCloud thing. Wow, that's 2 in 2 weeks, right?
I know, right? It's
interesting.
Why hack somebody's computer, which can be very difficult when you can try and hack someone's online cloud backup? It's only protected by a password.
Hey, can I say something to you?
What?
School starts next week.
Indeed, it does.
How's the things that you're doing going?
How are the projects?
Hey, Keegan, how are the projects going? Silence over there. No silence. No, where we're from.
Projects are going. I mean, I'm sure the project will be rolled out probably midway September. And we'll be announcing more officially the current projects on the 8th live event. Yeah, the 8th.
I mean, Keegan's doing a wonderful job right now. He's just kind of doing post-production work with what it is that we're doing and how we're doing it. So, but yeah, a week to go. Starting to get lots of calls again. Yep. I mean, we had some interest from California this week, which is very interesting. And that's what's cool about doing virtual stuff, right? Like we can do it here from Victoria and beam around the world. It's really cool, right? Really, really cool. So, yeah, really excited to announce some of the new. We've slowly been kind of talking about some of the things that we're doing. Good example, we just created a new program for grade 11 and 12 students who are doing legal studies in either grade 11 or 12, or it's a brand new program for high schools. It's 75 minutes max. That includes Q&A, where we talk about issues surrounding the law and the cyber world and what kind of trouble you can now get yourself into and what it is that you're doing online, right? So it'd be great for a grade 11 or 12 class, law, legal class, right? So kind of announce that, and we're slowly putting little teasers out there, and we'll talk more about that on the back to school that we're going to do on September 8th. Right, where we'll be talking about detail. Kind of looking forward to that.
Precisely.
Yeah.
All right. From My Hatter team, we'll see you next time and on the 8th.
DMCA. Yeah, I like that.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.